Harry Davidson, I'd love some bullet points on how did you manage to get rid of oxalates and its effects. Thank you. I actually pretty much didn't go exactly wild, got cold turkey. I actually did it like a on off thing. I didn't do it in one hit because that could be quite damaging to your kidneys. So I basically took all the oxalate foods out, including coffee, and allowed for the dumping. And I actually used citric acid supplementation. Some cannot tolerate it, as I learned. Hello Kitty hates the supplement, so she's gone back to using lemons because it's just too hard. And so, yeah, you got to use a bit more lemon. A couple of lemons, like 2 lemons a day, if you're really dumping. And the juice from the lemons, so to help with the citric acid, you can also use a bit of apple cider vinegar, but that's a problem with your teeth as well, enamel. So you sort of really have to rinse your teeth if you're doing that sort of stuff. That helps a bit as well. Also, you need to basically replenish the sulfur amino acids because you will deplete sulfur amino acids. A good strategy is also to get a bit of calcium in those. Eat a bit more so you can bind it and get rid of it via the feces. So there's a number of strategies, but it takes patience, and you dump for a week, and then you basically start eating something with an oxalate in it to stop the dumping, and then you basically have a rest for 2 weeks, and then you do it again. So it can be a drawn out sort of situation. Um, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'd have to take all oxalates out in order to allow the body to naturally dump. And I tell you, when you take all the oxalates out, Richard, you will notice you will dump quite severely, and you'll get foamy urine and stuff like that. So, and you'll get pain in your kidneys and stuff like that. So you really need to get the citric acid up to dissolve that. And you don't want to be doing it for too long, and you want to be taking high dose of taurine for two reasons. One, because any damage caused will be repaired by the taurine because it has that role. The second thing, it also will be utilized to deal and neutralize the actual oxalate. So it'll actually minimize the amount of damage that actually happens, and then repair it. So you go on a much higher dose. And as I said, always, David, with when you take higher doses of taurine, if you're on blood pressure meds, you've got to go slow. And the best thing before you go into any oxalate dumping is to basically get rid of the blood pressure meds altogether. So basically go and do adjustments, bring down your blood pressure meds, increase the taurine, bring down your blood pressure meds by 1 gram every week or so, and go and get your meds adjusted until you can get completely off the shit. And once you're off it, then you can basically, you don't have to worry how much, because even if you take excess amount of taurine, doesn't bloody matter. You can take 6 grams like I was taking, not an issue then, because taurine is an osmolyte. It's not going to push your blood pressure below into dangerous areas. It actually brings it into the normal range. So if it's high, it brings it to normal. If it's too low, it brings it into the lower normal. So it actually regulates it actually reduces blood pressure, reduces heart rate, and also regulates the electrolytes in the system because it's an osmolyte. It has that regulatory effect. It achieves homeostasis even in the gut. It actually regulates motility. It achieves homeostasis. It's a very homeostatic regulating substance, but it declines with age. Our synthesis, we have to get it in the diet by eating more animal foods. Plus, it plays a whole lot of roles in keeping you healthy. But at the same time, it gets massively depleted by oxalates. So you need to put it back. And I would do about 6 grams because I didn't want to. You can go to 10 on research. I didn't want to go that high. Very rarely do I put people that high with specific conditions, not with this sort of condition. I just basically threw in a couple of grams of a different one called MSM, which is also a sulfur amino acid, to use it to deal with the excess oxalate problems. And it does bind pretty well because MSM has a stronger affinity to the keratins, to the collagen, like it actually improves your nails, your hair, and all that sort of stuff. Plus, um, it has a side benefit of the body can actually utilize it also to deal with excess oxalate as well. So it can be a useful, so you're not depleting as much taurine in a sense. So that's a sort of an important step to take to deal with the dumping. So you go to these higher doses when you're dumping, you come back to 3 grams or whatever, 1 gram MSM, and then basically go up again. You just have to, and you have to sort of go into it, come out, until you basically realize when you do it, there's nothing. It's all cleared. It's all fine. You go, okay, I'll remove the citric acid. Do I get any pain? If I get any pain, I'm back on the citric acid and back on the higher doses. If not, maybe I'm over it. I haven't had any incidents now. I've done it. This was all last year. My last early in the year that I had my sort of last sort of bout of the whole thing, and since then, now it's been nearly a year, nothing. So I've rid myself, but I had a lot because I used to do spinach every morning nearly when I was doing keto and stuff like that. So I was eating a lot of high oxalate stuff. So I had shitloads to get rid of, and it took me months. So I wasn't happy about it, and it was painful and annoying and everything else. And it was causing me all sorts of problems, gut problems, diarrhea, constipation, all sorts of all over the bloody place. So no, you're not a happy camper when that actually happens. I can tell you. So you go into it, stop it by having a whole lot of oxalate food like chocolate or stuff like that, and that will just stop it immediately. And then you basically just have a really like high oxalate meal one day to stop it, and then just drop to a much lower things like coffee and stuff like that. You don't want to be putting stuff back, but you just want to basically send the message to the body. There's stuff coming in, you need to start storing because it's going to be too much in the system, and the body stops. And so you can actually pulsatile yourself, yeah,